It is no secret that I came from a wealthy family because of the fact that it is not my ancestors' wealth. This was my mother's second marriage to my stepdad. Due to the fact that my stepdad was born into a very wealthy family and his father was a landlord, I was the only child of my parents. It was only 2 years of my parents' marriage that they were killed in a fatal car accident. As a result, I lived with my grandfather from that time on. After my parents, my grandfather was responsible for looking after me, making decisions in my life and taking care of me. My grandfathers introduced me to Anna, who was my father's cousin's granddaughter. We were childhood friends who became good friends as we grew up together. I was asked by grandfather to get married to Anna if I wanted to get married. As a result, I obeyed his decisions. Since we'd been childhood friends and I liked her too, I agreed that we would get married because we were childhood friends. I've been married to my wife for the past 7 years. We've been very happy in our marriage throughout these years. Until now, there have not been any serious problem that I am aware of. One day I was in the office, so I got a call about my grandfather's cardiac arrest. The moment I heard he was in the hospital, I rushed there to see him. As soon as I reached the hospital, he had already passed away. An attorney was present at the funeral so that the will could be read in front of the people. In the will, it was written that my grandfather left everything he had to my kids, including his entire estate. During the time we've been together, there have been no serious issues that have come up. As a family, we've 2 children, a boy who is 6 years old and a girl who is 4 years old. An ordinary medical test report was the beginning of my nightmare. As part of my official work, I had to travel to Washington, D.C. many times in a month. When returning from the tour, I discovered that it was Anna's birthday, so I decided to surprise her with cake and that I bought for her. This was a surprise gift for her. I came home to celebrate her birthday with her and our kids, and she was very amazed by the surprise gift I had given her. There was such a feeling of happiness in Anna's eyes. After celebrating, I asked Anna if she had any wish for today, and I promised to fulfill it. I was told by her that she wanted me to have a vasectomy. In a state of astonishment, I stared at her and laughed, while I told her it's not the right time to joke about it. She said that she's serious and it's been on her mind for a couple of months because she doesn't want to have any more kids. My response was that I'm not ready for it right now, but I would be willing to undergo surgery if I were ready. After 1 week, Anna again asked me the same thing. In response to her question, I replied to her that I did not want to have a vasectomy because I wanted another child to finish the argument. It was always difficult for me to argue with her, but she insisted that I follow through with it. Whenever she tried to start any conversation, one of the first topics that come up for her was vasectomy. All of these conflicts were causing me a lot of frustration. It was getting worse day by day. Therefore, I discussed the whole matter with a friend of mine. In his opinion, 2 children are enough for her, and she would want you to do it if she wanted you to. In order to avoid this, I decided to visit the doctor. A few tests were performed by the doctor, and he told me that I would receive the results 5 days after my visit to the doctor. After I told Anna about the test, she seemed to be in quite a cheerful mood now because I had fulfilled her wish. I thought maybe it was a good decision. At least Anna was happy with it. With my this sacrifice, Anna was satisfied now, but the reality was I was not happy by the procedure. I visited the doctor within 5 days after the visit to receive the reports from the lab. During our visit to the doctor, he said something that really shocked me to the core of my being. As a result of these medical tests, the world is turned upside down for me. According to him, I am infertile and I cannot have children. In spite of this, I told the doctor that I have 2 children. There must be a mistake in the reports. There was a need for him to test me again regarding my infertility. The doctor has assured me that all the tests have been carried out properly and completely. I found it very strange and I did not know what to do with it. After I had told my friend about the incident, I actually told him that it was one of my other friend's case instead of myself, and I asked him, is it possible for someone to become fertile for a short period of time and then become infertile after a brief period of time? As he said, you must be crazy. How can someone think like that this is possible? How someone is fertile for a short period of time and then switch to infertile? In response to his question, I agreed that it is in fact not possible. In a tone filled with embarrassment, I told him that the case he was looking at was mine and that I was the person who is infertile. During my visit to the doctor, he told me this and showed me the reports he had written about it. There was astonishment on his face. Upon listening to me, he said to me, "How is this even possible when you already have 2 children? As a matter of fact, I think there is something very wrong here." We decided that it would be best to go to various doctors to confirm that I am infertile. It was the following day when we went to 2 different doctors for a checkup and test. The exam took place the next day and both results were the same, confirming that I was naturally infertile. Now the question arises as to how is it possible for me to have kids if I am infertile? I was so confused and amazed by the results. My children are not my children, but who should be their father if I am not their father? In a nutshell, that was the question. It was very important for me to know as soon as possible due to the fact that my head was spinning and I simply couldn't take it anymore. However, I was powerless to do anything about it. It is only up to me to decide whether I want to remain patient or not. Being patient and waiting for the truth to surface was the best thing I could have done for myself. In the meantime, my friend was with me all the time in this bizarre situation and was doing as much as he could. It was not even possible for me to ask Anna about this. I was cheated on by her because she cheated on me with someone else. It was a very heavy and broken heart that I experienced on returning home. Anna has asked me about the results of the reports that a doctor has given you. I was quiet. I was still quiet when she asked me again. As I watched her face, I couldn't help but wonder how could she accomplish such a thing. There's no way I can explain that what was going through my mind at that time. There is no problem with any of the reports, I replied patiently. After 1 month, I have been given an appointment to see the doctor for the operation. She said everything is going to be fine and that it is a good decision to have this surgery done. Don't worry too much about it. Her face was filled with a very different level of happiness as a result of this decision. As my first thought, I tried to figure out how to find her lie, but I ended up being a blank and trying to be calm at that time. There was a plan we made between me and my friend that a fake operation would be performed. My friend and I spoke with my friend's family doctor about the complicated situation we were in, and he was willing to help us in any way he could. I asked him to perform a fake operation, and he agreed to do the fake operation. The day of the surgery, Anna was with me in the hospital. I spent about an hour and a half in the surgery theater as we had planned. A fake report was provided to me by the doctor as well. Only a few days after my surgery did I notice that her behavior had drastically changed. One that day she said, "At the time I was experiencing a lot of emotion. It was a wrong decision that I made. There's one more baby I would like to have. During that time of my life, I was in a very weak emotional state and I'm totally to blame for this. I just said that as of right now, we cannot do anything, so please don't worry about it because I just want to see how she will respond to what I have said." I did my best to pretend that everything was normal with me. I observed that her behavior was changing from day to day as time went on. My eyes were almost on Anna's activities and I kept a close watch on her. I was sure that she'll make a mistake at any step. The only thing I had to do was to wait for the right moment and gather a few evidences against her. In the first instance, I decided to take the kids for a DNA test in order to verify that I'm not the father of the kids. So I did. I then discussed with my friend what I should do to track her down. For the next 2 weeks, he said he would follow her and keep an eye on her. She met a man once in an unusual way, like lovers, when my friend was following her. After he called and told me where she was, I called her and she did not answer. On the second call, she answered and said that she was with her aunt, when in fact she was with her lover. There was no doubt in my mind now. On the other hand, when she started getting rude with me, I don't know why, but she always wanted to start a fight with me, and finally one day she said she wanted a divorce because she couldn't live with me anymore. I said, "We just need time to think about it, but if you want so, I will divorce you if you wish to do so." In that moment, I had to realize that she wanted financial security. In addition to needing my wealth, she had been cheating on me for the past 7 years. As I looked at her motto now, I realized what it really meant to her. I heard my friend inform me one day that she went to meet that guy one day. Considering the current state of affairs, I thought it would be the right time to expose her along with her lover. As soon as I reached the place where she was, I knocked on the door. It was her lover who came to the door, and I asked for Anna when he came to the door. Her attention was drawn to the door when she heard my voice. Then she said, "Let's meet my university friend to cover up for her." In response, I replied that I am aware of everything. I told her to sit in the living room as soon as I got in the house, handed her the DNA reports, and told her to read them aloud to me. It wasn't long before she began to read. As I was listening to her read, I found myself laughing in a very strange way upon hearing that. I replied, "Let me tell you something. There is a man who is the actual father of these 3 children, and I am going to tell you who is he. Then let me tell you who the real father of those kids is." In a terrified state of horror, the person who used to be her lover was standing beside her. In response to his statement that we could talk about this, I replied that there is no need to discuss anything right now because everything is already clear. Anna said, "Please try to understand, for the last 7 years, you have spent a lot of time in your office and on official tours, so I was lonely. So this is what happened. You just need to shut up. This is all I said to you." Then I gave her the results of her infertility test and told her that I was infertile from the start. When you get to know that my grandfather gave all the wealth to my kids, so you decided to leave me because of that wealth. The divorce papers were slammed into her face by me at the same time as I said to her, "Don't you dare show me your face in my life anymore." Not only do I suffer because of Anna, but the kids were also suffering because of her. Now that I am all alone, she lives with her lover. She's going through a lot of financial difficulties, but I am not concerned about it. It did not matter what she did. She was never able to forget what she had done.